if you're struggling with anxiety, you just came across the right video. I'm going to tell you something in this video that can completely change your perspective on your fear, and maybe even have the potential for you to go through it and to completely rid this fear out of your life and live a life without it. If that sounds good to you and you really are serious about getting rid of your fear, getting rid of your anxieties, I really encourage you to watch this video to the end, because there's a great lesson in this. And if you really realize this, it can change your perspective and change your view on your anxiety completely. So, who am I? Who am I to tell you about fear, to tell you about anxiety? Why am I telling you this? So let me tell you a quick story about myself so it makes more sense, and then I'll tie it back later into this one thing that I learned through my journey. So who am I? My name is Boris, 22 years old, currently living in Mexico, but I had a life completely full of fear. My whole life was dictated by fear. And the fear of dying, the fear of death, the fear of choking, the fear of people thinking I am weird. And most people around me wouldn't even notice this most of the time. If I would tell my friends that I was struggling with fear for such a long time, they were like, huh? I never noticed this in you. So I was very good at keeping it secret, and maybe you are as well. In the worst periods of my fear, I had a panic attack around 3 times a week, so every other day. And from the moment I wake up to the moment I went to sleep, I thought I was going to die. Eventually, I was 41 kilograms body weight because I didn't eat anything almost anymore, maybe 1 meal a day, because I thought if I don't eat anything, I also cannot choke, so I also cannot die. So that was my mechanism. So I didn't eat anything anymore. I didn't really eat anything in public anymore because I thought I was going to choke. And every time I would eat something, even sometimes 2 hours after I eat something, my mind would convince me that I was choking. It's not realistic at all. And do you want to know what one of my biggest fears was? One of my most fearful scenarios was, which I could imagine. It was eating popcorn in a cinema. For most people, a very fun Saturday night planning, Saturday night event. But for me, it was one of my biggest fears because I was scared that these little popcorn things were gonna get stuck in my throat. It was very annoying for me to eat, and then in this dark room, I thought I was going to choke, and that was my biggest fear, that no one could help me there. So this fear was, it was completely irrelevant, right? It's not realistic, but still, I got caught with it for many, many years of my life, and it dictated my state of mind and my state of being completely. I was feeling such a little shell, such a little version of the person I could be, and now I am through it. I got through this anxiety. I got through this intense fear. In periods of my life, I thought I would never get out of this, and now I can tell you, I am out of this. And now I can tell you I'm living a way more present, way more enjoyable, way more free life, with more love, with more quietness, with a beautiful girlfriend in Mexico, traveling, already here for 4 months, escaping the winter, working online, living my purpose. Like, I came out, and I am very happy that I came out. So now I am going to teach you what this thing was, what changed it completely for me. And it's not what you think it is. Your problem is not your anxiety. And this sounds like a complete shift. Your problem is not your anxiety. Well, you think that your anxiety is your only problem. But what if I told you that your resistance towards your anxiety is the problem, and not the anxiety itself? So let me say it again. Your resistance towards your anxiety is the problem, not your anxiety itself. Because let's say you were sitting here and your anxiety would come up, and it would just come up, and you wouldn't resist it. You wouldn't be like, oh, fuck, anxiety is going to come up. What am I going to do? What am I going to do about it? This should go away. This is not good. There's something wrong with me. I'm going to die. This is all resistance in the mind. What if the anxiety would just come up and would be like, You wouldn't think anything about it. You would just have the feeling of the anxiety, and you would just allow it to be there. What would happen then? If you would just fully allow it to be there, this anxiety, and okay, it sounds easier than it is. I know this, okay? I know this. I don't want to make it seem very easy. Well, it is also on one side very easy. So, what if you allow it to be there, this fear? What happens then? The fear is there, and then you just let it be there. And then it won't have a grip on you anymore, because you see, when you have these anxiety waves coming up, the problem is that you immediately start resisting it. You start thinking about how to get rid of it. You start thinking about what bad things are going to happen in the future. That's also a resistance. If you think about what bad things are going to happen in the future, you resist how you're feeling now. You're fearful and you're judgmental towards how you're feeling now. If you just allow it to be there, allow these thoughts to be there, allow these physical sensations to be there. I know how intense it is. It can really feel like you're dying, okay? I'm not trying to downplay any of this. You really think that you're going to die. So if you allow this, that's one of the most difficult things for the mind to do, because then you are going to die. Because you really think you're going to die. In that moment, you don't think it's fair, because you think it's really a problem. And then you just let this problem be there. You let yourself die. What if you let yourself die? What if you be like, okay, I'm going to die now. This is it. I'm not resisting it anymore. I can tell you from personal experience, this is the only way to process it and to let go of it eventually. Because if you keep resisting it, it will come back, it will come back, it will come back, because there's something under this anxiety, some lesson, some deep memory, some deep truth that you keep hidden from yourself. And every time that lesson comes up to teach you something, but you're resisting it, and that's the anxiety. You're resisting life. You're not only resisting anxiety, you're resisting life, because you're trying to resist it, you're trying to control it, you try to think about it, you try to think your way out of it, you try to think how to get rid of it. You are in your mind trying to control this while you don't have any control. You don't have any control in this. It's just the mind that thinks it has control. So what you do when you allow this completely to be there, and you let go of the illusion that you have any control over this, because I can tell you, you don't have any control. The only control you have is you can choose to resist it, or you can choose to allow it and let go of control. That's the two choices you have in this. So what do you choose? Do you choose to keep resisting this anxiety and it will persist? What you resist persists, and you will live with this fear for your entire life, and you think about it as fear? Or you let go of this complete thought about this fear, this complete even thinking it is a problem, completely allowing it, completely letting it be there. Not only allowing it in order to get rid of it, but allowing it forever to stay here. Even love it, even not even try to be grateful for it, even be grateful that it is here, and see how it transforms you. I can tell you from personal experience, this is the most powerful thing that ever happened in my life, the moment I started allowing this fear, because it will teach you so much about yourself. It will teach you about your thoughts, about your ego, about your emotions, about things you've been running away from, things about how painful your life has been. It can even make you spiritual. It can even make you enlightened. Like, I'm not lying to this. I've had the most clear experiences, the most wonderful experiences when I stopped resisting life. Just allow it. A master can only allow it. So do you want to be a master? Do you want to get to the next step of your life where this anxiety doesn't even have a grip on your life anymore, and you can live from freedom and from acceptance and from a deeper place, authentic place in yourself? Or do you want to keep resisting this, keep running away from it, keep being a shell of yourself, keep being fearful all the time? It's your choice. And I'm not saying that it's easy, but I'm saying it is worth it. So that was it today for today, guys. I would appreciate it if you would support the channel, if you support the message, and I'll check you on the next one.